What's up, heroes? My name is Sylarclone, and welcome back to Crystalline. It's time to have dinner with Leanna's parents. Let's finally see what they're like. So Scrogens arrives. He looks surprised at Leanna. I think he expected her to change her clothes as well, but he doesn't say anything. Instead, he leads us to the dining hall. A heavenly scent hits me in the face as soon as I enter. A long table fills the room full of delicious food. Steam wafts from lamb chops, chicken, bread, lobster, vegetables. Oh, this is just making me hungry just thinking about it. My stomach rumbles and I might be drooling a little bit. This looks like it's going to be the best meal I've ever had. A young man clad in sparkling white armor stands in front of a huge crystal window. There's a lot of crystal windows around here. He looks to be a few years older than Leanna. His back is straight and he holds his head high, exuding an air of regality and authority. He seems to be absorbed in thought and doesn't notice our arrival. I mean, when you're sitting there looking out this giant crystal window going, yep, this is one big window. It's big and it's crystal. I must sit here and look like I'm in thought, because it makes me seem very important. Leanna beams.
Leo!
As we thought, her brother looks up from the window. When he notices Leanna, a wave of surprise flickers across his face.
Leah? This is a surprise.
Leah? I'm not going to use that nickname because I might die.
Did Father call upon you too?
Leanna nods. She walks over to him and hesitates. He pauses, then opens his arms wide. They embrace each other tightly, but only for a brief moment before separating. Leanna adjusts his armor, and his brows wrinkle as he looks over Leanna. Leanna notices his expression and worriedly smooths down her armor.
Some things have changed since we last saw each other.
You know, just a few.
I see that.
His voice is flat and hard to read. Leanna squirms under his gaze.
This does explain why you were always out of town whenever I would be in Illumia. And here I was thinking you were just trying to skip out on work.
Oh, no, little was she skipping. She was actually doing work. His face remains expressionless, but Leanna relaxes and a genuine smile graces her lips.
Sorry about that. Duty calls, as you know.
I do indeed.
Judging by Leanna's body language, Leon must be accepting of her decision to be a Mage-Knight. He doesn't seem too surprised by this fact either. I can't say we blame him. Probably because of all the sword training the two of them did together when they were younger. I knew she didn't have to be worried. Leon's face softens.
Do Mother and Father know?
The big question of the hour. Leanna shakes her head, the worry returning to her face. Leon looks grim. He finally seems to notice us.
Oh, you brought company.
Yes. Hi.
Yes.
Leanna introduces each of us. He greets us warmly.
I hope you've all been keeping her out of trouble. I know how much of a handful she can be.
Well, she keeps me out of trouble. Trouble follows her everywhere. It's exhausting taking care of her. You know what? She's actually kind of kept me a bit out of trouble here, so she keeps me out of trouble. If anything, it's the other way around. Leanna's the one who keeps me out of trouble. Leon looks amused.
Is that so?
Yeah, if it weren't for her, I don't know where I'd be right now. It's not untrue. I cast a lingering smile in Leanna's direction, which she reciprocates. When I look away, I notice Leon's gaze on me. Uh-oh. I think he knows. Was I being too obvious? Her face says yes, but at the same point in time, I don't think her Oni-chan's gonna care. As if on cue, the big doors creak open.
The Lord and Lady Dawn.
Mommy and Daddy. The beautiful older woman stands there, her arm linked with who I'm assuming is her husband. Loose golden curls fall at her shoulders, her smile delicate and soft. She's wearing an elegant cornflower blue gown and sparkling jewels. Leanna's father has a strong jaw and Leanna's blue eyes. His hair is also blonde, but the temples are peppered with silver, showing a little bit of age. Leon marches over to his parents and offers them a short bow.
Mother? Father?
Leon.
So stern and gruff. His father nods at Leon as Leon straightens. his eyes sparkling with pride. He clasps his son on the shoulder.
You look fine as always. Still doing that armor justice.
Yes, I'm doing that armor justice. I'm not making fun of the voice actor. It just sounds a lot how I can kind of talk to my friends sometimes. You look fine as always. Still doing that armor justice.
Thank you,
He's just
Father.
very flat and gruff, and I kind of like it. He's a very intimidating man. His mother smiles warmly and envelops him in a hug.
Oh, Leon, it's been too long. You don't come home enough.
I'm sorry, Mother. I wish I could, but
I know. I'm just being fussy. It's good to see you home again.
Mother just wanting to see her children and being happy when they come home. Can't fault her for that.
thank you.
Throughout the interaction, Leanna hangs back. Her father's gaze lands on her and his eyes harden.
Leanna, what in the blazes are you wearing?
The room falls silent as everyone's attention fixes on her.
Leanna?
Leanna holds her head high.
Hello, Mother. Father.
She dips in a small curtsy.
Is this another one of your little fantasies?
His tone is less stern and more one of confusion. Leanna's mother glances at her husband with concern before looking back at Leanna.
Perhaps you should wear something a bit more appropriate for dinner, dear.
The Wolf's Den armor?
No, Mother. This is the armor I chose to wear as a Mage-Knight.
And that bomb has been dropped. Leanna's voice rings clearly, but I can see her hands trembling. Again, there's a pause. I hold my breath. The tension makes the air feel thick. Finally, Lord Dawn huffs.
Well, no matter. That is something which will be addressed later. For now, your mother and I have some news.
This must be some important news if he's just going to kind of brush this off as nothing.
Please, let's all be seated.
Yes, sir. He and his wife sit at the head of the table with Leanna and Leon on either side of them. The rest of us silently fill in the empty seats.
Leanna, dear, you haven't introduced us to your guests.
Oh, hi, don't mind me.
Of course. Mother, Father, these are my companions. They are accompanying me on one of the assignments the Mage Guild has instructed me to investigate as a Mage-Knight.
Her mother and father ignore the last bit of her sentence. That's not good.
We welcome you into our home.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It is an honor.
Your hospitality is much appreciated.
Thanks.
Thank you. Lord Dawn gives us a curious look.
And are you all colleagues from the Mage Guild?
No, Amy is a student Mage-caster from the Mage Academy.
Both of Leanna's parents look impressed.
A Mage-caster at such a young age. You must be very extraordinary.
Indeed. Your parents must be quite proud. That is not an easy achievement to reach, no matter the age.
Thank you for your kind words.
Leanna introduces Zach and Kara next, but hesitates when she gets to me. I'm Sylar, and I'm studying wind magic, learning sword fighting, training to be a Mage-Knight. Well, based on their reactions to the whole Mage-Knight ordeal with Leanna, I'm going to rule that one out. I might just kind of keep it basic, and I'm studying wind magic, because he's mentioned the Mage Guild, so he might hold them in high regards, so I'm studying wind magic. I've been learning how to cast wind magic from Leanna. Leanna's father nods approvingly. Dad approves. That's a scary thing. He's an intimidating man.
Of course, Leanna is an excellent mage, as are all Dawns.
All Dawns, you say? Learned something new today. Leanna's jaw twitches at her father's slight, but she doesn't say anything. Good idea. We'll talk about it later. Once introductions are over, we begin to eat. We sit in silence for a while. The only sound is the clinking of silverware. And me not trying to inhale my food because that looks so good. Leanna takes a bite of her stew. She smiles and sighs, practically melting in her chair.
Nothing can compare to the food from home.
Her mother looks delighted.
Do you like it, dear?
Yes, of course. It tastes just the way I remember.
I'm happy to hear that.
Your mother insisted on cooking it herself, even though I told her that's what we hire the chefs to do.
That's still impressive that she was cooking it herself. That was my first thought of, did Mrs. Dawn make this herself? Did Lady Dawn make this? I'm now gonna have to give her a compliment for that. Screw the cooks. Only Lady Dawn can cook stew this way. Leanna blinks.
You didn't have to do that.
I know, dear, but I remembered how much you enjoyed it when you were little.
Thank you.
Leanna's smile broadens as she takes another bite. Leon takes a bite of the roast.
And was this your doing too, Mother?
She smiles and puts a hand over her husband's.
Actually, it was your father.
Both Lady and Lord Dawn cooked dinner. Hot damn. Both Leanna and Leon look at their father with surprise. Color stains Lord Dawn's cheeks.
It's not often we have the family together again, and with such good news, too.
Oh, it's good news. Cool. What is the good news? Leanna and her brother exchange glances. Relief seems to pour into Leanna's face. At least it's good news.
What news, Father?
His parents glance at each other, then Lady Dawn clasps her hands together, flushing with enthusiasm.
Leanna, we have found you an excellent partner. You are to be engaged as soon as possible.
Well then. That silence is fitting. Yeah, that was definitely called and seen coming. Traditional-minded. Absolutely. The entire dining room freezes.
What?
Her father beams.
Come now, Leanna, don't act so surprised. We've been waiting for this day for a long time now. And we're pleased to announce your engagement to the House of Pennington.
The House of Pennington? Leanna's face is wide with shock. The room spins. I feel dizzy. Panic spikes my chest. It's hard to breathe. Leanna's getting engaged. Zack nudges me in the ribs hard. I jerk, whirling to face him. He gives me a pointed look. Oh, what do you get? You gonna give me advice now? I better get my act together. But how can I? They just announced my girlfriend is to be engaged. Granted, they don't know we're dating, but still. I grab my goblet, taking huge desperate gulps to calm myself. Leon's brows furrow. He frowns, his gaze snapping between me and Leanna. He knows.
Duke Pennington? He has to be at least 60 years old.
Her mother laughs.
Oh, my dear, of course not the Duke. That would be incredibly inappropriate. You're to be married to his son, Edward.
Question, can I challenge him to a duel?
You remember him, right? He was a bit of a skinny child, but he's grown into a very handsome man.
Question still stands. Leanna seems as if she's in a daze.
Engaged?
Yes, dear. He'd been away for a long time, but he's finally returned home. He's a very talented water mage. That's why he was called abroad, actually. They needed his talents.
Leon nods along to what his mother says.
I think I remember Edward. He's a nice man, if I recall. Has a soft spot for children.
But can I challenge him to a duel for her hand?
Yes, exactly. Of course. We wouldn't set you up with anyone less than the best.
Right here is the best. While Lady Dawn chats excitedly, Lord Dawn watches Leanna with hawk eyes.
Leanna?
She snaps back to attention.
Huh? I mean, yes, Father?
You don't seem to be very excited. Do you hear what we're saying?
Yes, Father. I hear you.
But just doesn't want to do it. Her voice is eerily calm.
However, I don't accept the engagement.
Oh, this is going to play out interestingly. Her parents stare at her, stunned. Leon looks back and forth from Leanna to his parents. His eyes seem to implore Leanna.
What do you mean you don't accept it? My dear, it's a very real thing that's happening.
I don't accept it. I'm not ready to be married yet.
Then you better find a way to get ready, because you will be married.
Anger creeps into his voice, and Leanna flinches.
I just need some more time. You sprang this upon me with no warning. How did you expect me to react?
I expected you to act reasonably and accept your responsibility as a member of the Dawn family.
He's getting angry.
I understand my responsibility, Father. And I'm not saying I refuse to ever be married, but I need more time.
Now, what could you possibly need more time for?
To live my life.
The anger behind Leanna's words briefly silences her father. His face turns red as anger boils. Leon takes this moment to try to intervene.
Father, perhaps the engagement can be postponed.
He shoots his son a cutting look.
Unless there is a reasonable explanation as to why this engagement should be postponed, I expect her to fulfill her duties as a Lady of House Dawn.
He slams his fist on the table, rattling the silverware.
There's more to me than just being Lady of House Dawn. I'm a Mage-Knight. Something you said a woman could never be.
I will hear no more of this. A lady cannot be a Mage-Knight.
Leanna's mother tries to calm her husband down.
Darling, please. I'm sure she'll come around to the idea. After all, we raised her to be proper and to keep the family proud.
I won't, Mother. Not if it means I can no longer be a Mage-Knight.
Lady Dawn looks at her daughter with a mixture of exhaustion and hurt.
Leanna, dear, please be reasonable. We can't always follow the whims of our fantasies. We have certain responsibilities which must be met.
Exactly. Why can't you be more like Leon? He understands his place in this family.
If I were in her place, I would refuse too.
Well. His parents recoil at his words as if he'd cut them with a knife. Leanna blinks in surprise, then smiles softly, appreciative of his support.
Leon, what are you saying?
Father, I am putting into practice what you've always taught me. Family comes first.
That's either going to come back and bite him in the ass, or it's going to work very, very well. And I'm thinking it's the former over the latter.
Then why have you chosen to go against the family?
I haven't. I support the marriage prospect you've chosen for Leanna, but it is clear she does not want this. If being a Mage-Knight makes her happy, then why can't we support her? She's already graduated from the program and earned her title and admission into the Mage Guild. These are no small accomplishments.
Lord Dawn's chair screeches as he pushes himself away from the table.
I have never been more disappointed in my children.
And you're a bit of an asshole. He turns and leaves with a flourish of his cloak.
Darling, wait!
Lady Dawn shoots one last look of frustration towards her children, then rushes after her husband. Leon steps up and brushes himself off. He gives Leanna a sympathetic look, then walks after his parents, leaving us in silence. Leanna crumples in her seat, holding her head in her hands. She was so brave. Awkward. Don't break the silence. You know what? I'm still going to stand up for her. No matter what, we got to see this through. Leanna. She looks up at me with tired eyes. What you did back there was really brave. It takes guts to stand up for what you want.
No change will ever be effected if the status quo is not challenged.
What she says. Kara nods.
Your dad's kind of scary when he's angry.
Her dad was scary before he was angry. Leanna flashes us a weak smile.
Thanks, guys.
She shakes her head.
I'm so sorry you guys had to sit through that. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this.
We kind of had an idea out here, though. You don't have to apologize. She pushes herself to her feet.
We should leave. We need to stop Void. And clearly there's nothing else to discuss here.
We do have a job to do. Kara's brows furrow.
Maybe we should stay the night.
Why? You saw what my parents are like.
I kind of understand with Kara, though. It's a fresh wound, but if we leave, it's going to make that wound even deeper. We should at least extend their hospitality, stay the night, then leave in the morning.
I know.
Kara's voice is soft and careful.
I know. But I really think we should stay. Give them time to think about it. Especially your dad. Who knows? Maybe things will smooth over in the morning.
Leanna scoffs.
I doubt it. He's so stubborn.
I'm not trying to tell you what to do. After all, you know your family best. I just know that if my dad were still here, I wouldn't want things to end like that. I wouldn't be able to forgive myself if that was the last interaction I had with him.
Leanna stands with her arms crossed, thinking about Kara's words. Her muscles are taut, eyes still bright with tears. Finally, she nods. Her muscles unwind and she slumps a little.
You're right.
Kara smiles slightly. She pats Leanna on the arm.
Just give them time. You never know.
Leanna huffs out a deep sigh.
Yeah.
And if Leon knows about me and her, which I'm pretty sure he does, might change a thing or two. She doesn't sound too convinced.
I'm sorry, but I think I'm going to turn in early. I need some time to think.
We nod. Zach raises to a stand.
I think I'm ready for bed too.
We all agree. Slowly, we get to our feet and follow Leanna out of the dining room. She leads us up the stairs to the hall with our rooms. As I reach my room, Zach pauses in my doorway.
You good?
His voice startles me. Yeah. Why?
It was pretty tense back there. And I know how close you two are.
I nod. Yeah. I can't imagine what Leanna's feeling right now.
Same.
I feel Leanna's pain, but also her anger. But I also feel feel sorry for myself too, which is the worst part because none of this should center around me. But when I heard she was going to be engaged, it felt like someone took a sledgehammer and pounded my heart to pieces. I'm worried about what Leanna will decide. Even if she doesn't get married today, what about the future? Will she still follow her family's wishes? The words vomit out of me, but Zach listens patiently. When I'm done, he puts a comforting hand on my shoulder. Somehow, that gesture calms me more than words would have. Sometimes, actions speak way louder than words. Zach starts to head over to his room.
Rest on it. It'll be better in the morning.
Here's hoping. Thanks. I close the door behind me and try to get settled. We're in for a long night, it seems. I haul the blankets up and close my eyes, but sleep eludes me. I toss and turn, but can't seem to get comfortable. My mind starts to wander. Memories from tonight's dinner begin to flash through my head. Should I have done something? Said something? It was clearly Anna didn't want to do this, and the very thought of her marrying someone else. I let out a growl in frustration, rolling over onto my stomach and throw the pillow over my head. What was I going to do if Leanna decided to go through with this? Would her parents sway her to their side? Then what? The thought of Leanna never being able to go on missions again or do what she loves. Maybe I should check on her. Feeling restless, I tiptoe out of my room and over to Leanna's. This is either going to end poorly or very well. Gently, I knock on the door. The door opens almost immediately. Leanna? She bites her lip.
Hey,
Her eyes are a little red and puffy, as though she's been crying. I wonder why. I wanted to see if you were doing okay. She shrugs, glancing at the ground. That's a no.
do you want to come in?
Yes. She steps aside and closes the door behind me. My heart twists. I hate seeing Leanna so upset like this. This is a very elegant room, by the way. I love this vase here in the right side here in the mirror. That's very pretty. She flops down on her bed. Her voice is low and tired.
I just don't know what to do. I feel so torn.
She shakes her head.
I've always respected my parents' wishes. I've always done what's expected and followed my duty.
She lets out a shuddering breath.
But this is the one thing I don't think I can do, even though it's the most important.
I stroke her back, not saying anything, only listening. Leanna seems to relax slightly under my touch.
What do you think I should do?
Well, put me on the spot here. You should do whatever you want. You should listen to your parents. I feel just as conflicted as you. See, this is where the tough part of these come on in, because this is clearly a defining moment here. And as much as I want to say you should do whatever you want, seeing the I feel just as conflicted as you option just jumps out at me. And I'm not sure why. Mostly because it kind of combines the above two of you should listen and do whatever you want. Because I want her to do whatever she wants, but at the same time I can understand her honor, but I feel just as conflicted as you. I think that's where we're going to go here. I'm sorry, but I really don't know what to tell you. I know it's not what she wants to hear, but it's the truth. And sometimes the truth can go a very long way. Leanna's brows crinkle into a frown.
You don't have any thoughts on this?
I have no place to get involved. It's possible to respect your parents and to do your own thing too. Again, with the other tough decisions. Damn! And why are these decisions so tough? You know, is it possible to respect your parents and do your own thing? Boundaries are healthy to any relationship. You're your own person, and you're allowed to make your own choices. I know it's stressful, but I think you're right in standing up for what you want. Leanna frowns.
Yeah, but what I want is causing them pain.
But what they want causes you pain. I need to do the whole shut up and just read the story. Leanna's brows knit together. Honoring your parents doesn't always mean you have to agree or do everything they want. You can love them and respect their opinions, but live your own life. Leanna nods, deep in thought.
Yeah.
I shrug. Anyway, those are my thoughts. You have to do what you think is right, though.
Thank you.
It's what I'm here for. I'm sure, no matter what you decide to do, everything will turn out okay. Leanna smiles at me. The gentle glow from the crystal lamps embrace her, bathing her in a soft daffodil glow.
I'm so lucky to have someone like you.
You know, what can I say? I smile. Where did that come from? She looks down.
It must be really hard for you to talk about this stuff with me.
Yeah. I'll admit that it's not easy to think about the fact that we might not be together, but ultimately, I care about your happiness. She softens and gives me a kiss on the cheek.
That's one of the things I like about you.
Only one of them? She smiles again.
Among many other things.
Ah, there are other things. Is it that I'm tall and handsome and flowing brown hair, maybe. I smile back. She seems to be a bit more relaxed after talking. I'm glad. Maybe she'll be able to get some sleep. It's getting pretty late. I should go back. She nods and walks me to the door.
Thanks for checking up on me.
It's what I do. Of course. I was worried about you. I stroke her cheek and she leans into my touch. Gently, I tip her face towards me. She gazes at me with half-lidded eyes. As soon as she closes them, I press my lips against hers. Breathlessly, we pull away. She steals another quick kiss and then opens the door.
Good night.
Good night. The door closes behind me. Well, that was brutal. I turn around and nearly run straight into Leon. Yes! How can I help you? My stomach knots, but I try to keep my cool. Hello! He's changed into more comfortable clothes, but it doesn't look like he's gone to bed yet. What's he still doing up?
I'm pretty sure your room is further down the hall.
You're correct. He cocks his head, green eyes twinkling with amusement. Glad he's amused by this. Yep, and that's exactly where I'm headed. What are you still doing up? He laughs and crosses his arms.
I woke up and wanted a glass of water. The real question is, what were you doing in my sister's room so late at night?
She was looking for some advice. She was saying goodnight. Just saying goodnight to my bestest friend. I wasn't in there. Well, I'm caught. Wasn't in there's a bad one, so she was looking for some advice. You know what? I'll be honest. What do I got to hide from him? There's no point in lying. We didn't do anything wrong. Leanna wanted some advice. Leon blinks.
Oh.
I don't think he expected me to be so straightforward with my answer.
I see.
His face changes into a compassionate but worried smile.
I'm sure everything will work out. My father tends to be a bit stubborn at times.
Just a bit?
But I know he cares about us. He just needs a while to think about it.
I nod, not really knowing what to say. I hope he's right. I hope her parents can go a little easier on her in the morning. Leon taps his chin in thought.
Still, sneaking around this late at night, someone could get the wrong impression. You should be more careful.
Thank you, sir. I'll keep that in mind. Huh. Thanks. Leon's expression is unreadable. I fight the urge to squirm and force myself to stay calm. I made it through the conversation so far. What's a few more minutes? He finally cracks a smile.
Well, I'm off to bed. Sleep well.
I'm gonna try. Right. You too. He turns away and strolls down the hallway to his room. I hurry back to my room and close the door, letting out a deep breath of relief. I'm so glad that was over. Leon was definitely suspicious. Oh, he knows. He totally knows. I slip under the covers and crawl into bed. Maybe it was because I'm wound up from all the stress, but this time, sleep finds me quickly. Or just the fact of getting all that off our chest and actually talking to Leanna to get that confirmation that she's feeling better might have helped. The next day, everyone meets downstairs for breakfast. A butler had knocked bright and early on our doors to tell us breakfast would be served. Did I actually get up? And that clock hasn't moved. I'm just wanting to know what time it is. Is it actually read like hours, or is that just something on the wall? I'm curious. Just my own thoughts. Zach and I were the first ones downstairs, followed by Kara and Amelia. The Pongo snoozes softly inside my scarf, taking advantage of a few extra winks. Lucky bastard. I wonder what Leanna's decision is going to be. If she'll bend to her parents' will or fight for her own path. My heart thunders with nerves. I'm so unsure of how this day is going to go. If she decides to go through with this marriage, everything's going to change. She won't be able to keep the job she loves and will be... I shake my head. I can't complete the thought. Won't do it. Can't. Won't. No.
Good morning.
Good morning. Leon nods to us and sits down at the table. His hair is brushed and tidy, and his armor is spotless. Suddenly, I hear some footsteps. I look and see Leanna approaching the table. Her face is pale, and her blue eyes don't have that usual sparkle. Means she didn't sleep well.
Hi.
She smiles, and my heart caves for her. It's clear she hadn't slept well at all. Good morning. Leanna takes a seat next to me. She glances at me, and I flash her a reassuring smile. She relaxes slightly and nods. I guess my presence last night helped her a little bit. Kara leans over.
Leanna,
Leanna looks up at Kara, who gives her an encouraging grin.
today is going to be better. Now that everyone's had a chance to sleep on it, I'm sure you'll be able to have a calm, rational discussion.
Oh, please, I hope so. Leanna nods.
Thanks, Kara.
I concur. Should you continue your discussion today, it should be about finding solutions as the raw emotions have already been expressed.
I hope that's true.
Have you made your decision?
She nods again.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this just makes me nervous. I jerk my head up. My stomach twists. I want nothing more than to comfort her, to wrap an arm around her, or to hold her hand, but I know I can't. Even more so, I'm wondering what it is she's going to do. The anticipation is killing me. Just as I'm about to ask Leanna about her decision, another set of footsteps echo across the marble. Lady Dawn looks just as uneasy as Leanna. Her hair is pinned up in curls, and she wears a beautiful satin gown. Her cheeks are just as pale as Leanna's, and it's clear that she hadn't had a good night's rest either. Lord Dawn stands at her side. His jaw is clenched, his spine locked. His stormy presence seems to fill up the entire room. I'm a little scared now. Not a word is said as they cross over to their seats.
Good morning.
Someone breaks the silence. She struggles to smile. The tension in the air is heavy, dampening the conversation.
How is everyone? Did you all sleep well?
No, ma'am. But yes, ma'am.
Quite well, thank you. The bed here is much more comfortable than the one back at the academy.
I'm not surprised you're the one breaking the silence, but thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Without even a glance at his breakfast, Lord Dawn pushes his plate aside and folds his hands over the table. His sharp gaze falls onto his daughter.
We need to talk about what happened yesterday.
Do I need to be here, or can I leave the room? Because I feel like I'm intruding. Leanna slowly puts her fork down.
Okay.
Her voice is careful, guarded.
How long have you been a Mage-Knight?
Her cheeks flush.
I started as soon as I earned the title from the Mage Academy.
He blinks, clearly shocked. Even his wife lets out a breath of surprise. His mouth curls as though he's just tasted something sour.
So you mean to tell me that you have been lying to us since the beginning?
Leanna keeps her nerves steady.
Yes.
That ends now. You will give up this irresponsible behavior, and you will be married.
Glad to see he's not budging. My stomach drops. Leanna lurches to a stand.
I am not marrying him, and I will not give up being a Mage-Knight.
Oh boy. Shock ripples through me. At the same time, so does relief. Her father sighs deeply, exasperated.
Why must you make this so difficult, Leanna?
I'm not the one who's making things difficult.
I would have assumed that you would have thought this through last night, but you are still being completely irrational.
The heat returns to Leanna's voice.
I'm not the one who's forcing me to give up my dream and purpose in life.
Oh, spare me the theatrics. How could this be your dream? Don't you realize how dangerous it is to be a Mage-Knight?
Yes.
Yes, I do realize that. I live it every day. But at least, as a Mage Knight, I'm well equipped to take care of myself. I've been trained to handle danger.
He shakes his head.
You can't be prepared for every circumstance. What if you get ambushed, outnumbered, or overwhelmed in battle? What if your teammates fall and you're the only one left?
She has done that.
So what if that does happen? How can we live life based on hypotheticals? What if I became ill? What if I couldn't bear children? Would you still force me to get married? But if those things happened, I wouldn't be able to fulfill my duty as a lady in the House of Dawn. Then what?
Her father scowls and waves a hand dismissively.
That's not the same. Those are all based on chance. You aren't throwing yourself into situations which would allow those things to occur. As a Mage Knight, you're walking into those scenarios every day.
Leanna points a finger at Leon. Her voice is shrill as she tries to keep her composure.
What about Leo then? He's a Mage Knight who walks into danger every day. Why aren't you worried about him?
Because it's his responsibility to serve and protect as a man in the House of Dawn.
For once, Leanna is speechless. Silence settles over the table like a heavy blanket. Her mother stares at her lap, as still as a statue. Leon opens and closes his mouth as if he wants to speak, but can't find the words to say. Her father nods.
Now that you've come to your senses, we can discuss the details of the engagement.
No.
The rage returns to her father's voice, her father's face, probably his voice too.
How many times must we go round in this endless game? When will you accept your responsibility as a lady in the House of Dawn?
Leanna's voice is scarily calm.
If this is what it takes to be a Dawn, then I don't want to be a Dawn anymore.
Damn. Drop that mic and walk away. There's a momentary pause, so still you can't even hear breathing. Leon stares sharply at her.
Leah.
But Leanna just shakes her head. Her mother laughs shakily.
Let's just calm down, all right, dear? We know you don't mean that.
She reaches for her daughter's hand, but Leanna pulls away.
I'm sorry, Mother, but I meant what I said.
Her mother's face crumples as hurt creases her brow. Her father scoffs.
Leanna, don't be ridiculous.
Oh, now you're calm and kind of want to listen to reason now.
I'm serious, Father.
He's about to respond when Leon interrupts, finally able to find his voice.
Father, listen to her. She's not joking.
He looks from Leon to Leanna, and slowly the anger melts from his face to be replaced with confusion and pain. He looks at Leanna as if he's looking at a stranger. He shakes his head and abruptly stands to his feet.
I can't have a discussion with you when you're like this. Come find me when you're ready to have a discussion like adults.
Well, I'm not sure what to think of that. I just want to know what he's feeling now. What's wrong with me? Go on, must go deeper. Without waiting for a response, he slams the doors open and storms out of the dining room. Not sure if he's angry. I mean, he's upset, but it's not anger, I don't feel, at least.
I'll go talk to him.
Leon scrambles after him. Leanna's mother remains in the room. She seems defeated.
Come now, dear. Really, think about what you're saying.
Leanna's voice softens as she sees the pain in her mother's eyes.
I'm sorry, Mother, but I've made my decision. I've tried to be a good daughter to you, and I've tried to make my house proud. But what you're asking me to do this time, I can't. I just can't.
Her mother sighs deeply and closes her eyes. Leanna looks at the rest of us.
We should go.
Her voice has a note of finality to it. Without a word, we scrape our chairs back and follow Leanna out of the room. As we leave, I hear Lady Dawn's faint voice.
Leah, I'll always be proud of you, no matter what.
Leanna stops, stunned. She looks back at her mother, her eyes glittering. She rushes to her and throws her arms around her in a hug. Her mother hugs her back, gripping her tightly. All too soon, she releases her daughter. Leanna turns back around and leads us back to the main foyer. We wait as servants gather our belongings. Kara gently touches Leanna's arm.
Hey, what you did back there.
I know.
Kara hesitates.
Are you doing okay?
I don't know. A part of me feels lighter, but another part of me just feels sad.
A fresh start could be good. Won't you miss them? There's nothing I could say to make this better. Ooh. Why are these all tough? You know, a fresh start could be good. Won't you miss them? Well, obviously that, yes, but I'm really not sure if there's anything I could say. I'm torn between a fresh start and there's nothing I can say to make this better. Because this is definitely something that'll take time. You know what? I'm going to go with a fresh start could be good. It's a new day. It's a new beginning. We'll see how things go from here. Our families can shape a lot of who we become, but we can't let them define who we are. You're more than just being a Dawn. You're also a kick-ass Mage-Knight.
Thanks. Your support means a lot to me.
I know it does. Although she tries to keep her tone light, I can tell she's hurting. This could not have been an easy decision for her. We fall silent. Suddenly, a voice calls out.
Leanna.
Lord Dawn. We freeze and slowly turn around. Lord Dawn and Leon stand behind us, their cloaks billowing behind them. Lord Dawn straightens and clears his throat.
Leanna.
Father.
I had hoped that you would move past this childishness and accept your responsibility.
I thought for a moment here he was going to be apologetic, but when you start like that, it doesn't give me much hope. Leanna's about to retort, but he holds up a hand. And I get the hand too.
But I see now that being a Mage-Knight means something far more to you.
He glances down at his daughter.
I don't agree with your decision to willingly put yourself in danger, but I would.
Lord Dawn pauses, struggling to find the right words. I doubt he's used to anyone challenging him.
I would rather have a daughter who would recklessly put herself in danger for the sake of others than no daughter at all.
Leanna's eyes well up. She rushes to her father and wraps him in a big hug. He stiffens in surprise, uncomfortable and uncertain. But as the shock wears off, a small smile tugs at his lips and he hugs her back. Soon, he breaks the hug. Leanna wipes at her tears and her father clears his throat.
Now, there is only one thing missing for you to be truly recognized as a Mage-Knight.
There is?
What's that?
Leon hands his father a wrapped blade, which Lord Dawn carefully unwraps. A sharp silver blade with an ornate silver hilt glitters beneath the light.
Each of these blades has a legacy. They have been passed down to the sons of our house for generations. But it has never been passed down to a woman before today, as we've never had a woman Mage-Knight in the family. That is, before you, my daughter.
Lord Dawn smiles proudly at Leanna. He reverently offers the sword to her. She carefully takes the blade and scabbard and straps it to herself.
Thank you, Father.
Treat it well, and it will take care of you.
I will.
You can always come home, too. Your mother will find another suitable match for you.
Of course it's her doing.
Father,
That is, when you are ready.
Leanna smiles.
Thank you.
He clears his throat.
Good, well,
He clears his and straightens as if talking to a knight.
be safe, be decisive, be vigilant. Above all else, be honorable.
Yes, sir. Leanna salutes and Lord Dawn puts a hand on her shoulder. He nods and heads back to the dining room. Leon lingers behind.
So you're officially a Mage-Knight now.
Mage-Knight in the House of Dawn. Leanna lets out the breath she was holding. The tension in her body eases and as she turns to Leon.
Well, I've actually officially been one for a while.
I know. You looked radiant when you walked on that stage.
Leanna blinks.
Wait, you were there? You knew?
Of course he knew. He grins.
You didn't think I'd miss my baby sister's graduation, did you?
It's what big brothers do. Her mouth falls open.
How did you know? And why didn't you tell me? We could have...
He laughs and pulls her into a hug.
I'm proud of you, Leah. Maybe I'll be able to catch you next time you're in Illumia.
She hugs him back.
Of course.
They break away, still smiling.
I bet you're relieved you don't have to get married anytime soon.
Yes.
Although Edward really isn't a bad guy. He's kind and generous and easy on the eyes, too.
Leanna wrinkles her nose.
Thanks, but no thanks.
That was a pretty quick rejection. You have someone else in mind?
Leanna blushes but shakes her head. This is what's on her mind. Got that poor mind.
No. I'm just not ready to give up my freedom.
Uh-huh. I'm sure that's it.
Yep.
Good, good. Because you'd tell me if you were seeing someone, right?
Leanna's voice is squeaky.
Of course.
She just lied to her brother again.
No matter who he may be?
I tell you.
Even if you were standing right here, right now?
You might as well tell him, woman. He knows. I feel the color drain in my face. Leanna darts a glance at me, but tries to keep her composure.
I'd still tell you.
Out with it then. Leon gives Leanna a look.
Okay, maybe not immediately, but when I'm ready.
He smiles.
Good.
When Leanna turns her back for a second, Leon's eyes bore into me. A shudder runs up my spine as I notice the bright glint in his armor matching the glint in his eyes. He has to know, right? Or maybe he's trying to bluff? Hey, he ain't bluffing. He freaking knows. Don't look, don't look, don't look, don't look. Don't let him smell your fear. He's definitely bluffing. Don't, just, we're not gonna look. We're just not gonna, I really want to know. You know what? For the sake of it, I'm going for it. Don't let him smell your fear. I forced myself to keep his gaze. He's not going to intimidate me. I haven't done anything wrong. When Leanna looks back, he breaks the gaze. My legs feel weak as relief washes over me. Whew, he didn't murder me. I held my own, but I do not want to do that again.
Stay safe.
You too.
Whew, they have one last quick hug before breaking apart. Leo gives the rest of us a farewell salute, then turns and follows his father. Oh boy, he definitely knows. Scrogens waits for us at the door. After saying goodbye, we return to the gravel path and begin the trek back down the long drive. Well, that turned out better than expected.
Yes.
Leanna is all smiles as we continue to walk. She seems to hold herself taller, finally feeling free from the weight of her responsibilities. Her happy mood greatly improves our spirits, as it
It
should.
would seem that as this business has concluded, we should continue our travels.
Yeah, we have void butt to kick.
Agreed.
She checks the sun in the sky.
We've still got most of the day to travel. we should be able to cover a good distance before we have to stop for camp.
Leanna leads us through the town and back onto the open road. We travel through smaller roads to return to course, but, well, making our way towards the Shadow Temple. Although Leanna's mood seems fine, she's quiet for most of the journey. The rest of us keep talking to a minimal. It's been an emotionally draining couple of days, and we're all feeling the effects from that. Leanna's relationship with her parents is complicated. I know she has a deep respect and strong bond with her family, and after this morning, it's obvious her family loves her. I'm glad they were able to reach some sort of understanding and remember what is important. As we leave Hearthdawn behind us, we begin to focus on what's ahead of us. When the sun hangs high in the sky, we stop to take a break, and that is what we're going to do here. That was an emotional roller coaster of an episode, and here's hoping to something a little lighter going on as we journey on towards the Shadow Temple. But, as always, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to let me know by hitting that like button down below or leaving a comment. It really does help me out. And if you're new to the channel or have not done so already, unleash your power by hitting that subscribe button down below today as well and ringing that bell to be notified when new videos come on out. And feel free to follow me on Twitter at Sylarclone. And I will see all you heroes in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. May the Force be with you, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.